Everybody, yeah, Evan's body, yeah, Evan's body, rock your body right. Evan's not sick, alright. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I feel fucking good. Welcome back, baby. We are back. Back in action like Backstreet Boys in 2001. Minus a few years. Oh, I'm feeling good, people. I'm feeling good. Last episode I did, I'll be honest, listen, I'm not going to be one of these cool people that's like, hey, I'm real. I'm the real deal Holyfield. I'm so fucking regular and just talk about how normal I am. But I'm also not going to be one of these people who's like, I got reverb on my voice right now. You know what? We need to turn that shit off. Room reverb. I just saw this switched into, there we go. Oh, hell yeah. You're never going to hear it. You're never going to hear it. But we're back to normal. I'm not going to be one of these people who pretend like I don't have problems. Now listen. Last podcast that you guys heard from me, the 25th episode, that was supposed to be a unique special episode. I didn't even promote it. And shame on me because I can't even do that anymore. People still downloaded it. I am so fucking blown away by the support this podcast has. Never expected it. But I wasn't feeling good at all. Episode 25, I was like, let me do something different. I was like, let me do 25 fun facts because I was kind of going through it. I was in the thick of it. Your boy was kind of feeling sick and just wasn't doing too well. And of course, in this, world that we're living in right now, your boy thought he had corona. Everybody does. You get the sniffles. You get sick this time of the year. It is corona. Every time my throat would hurt and I would cough, fucking Cardi B in my head. It's coronavirus, y'all. That's how I felt. I was that living meme. And I was pretty sick. And here's the thing. I was quarantined the whole time. I didn't go anywhere. I got my groceries. But I was following all quarantine protocols. So whether it was the corona, whether it was just a sinus infection with body aches and flu-like symptoms, we'll never know. We'll never know unless there's some retroactive thing. Just out of curiosity, they test me just so I know that. But they're not going to do that. They're not even testing people who really need the test. But I just wasn't feeling good. And on top of that, a lot of stress, anxiety, and kind of things just with life right now. We all are going through it. Except for people in comas. They're just kind of skating through this whole thing, Hell of a time to have a coma. Like right before the big outbreak, you were just in a coma and then you're going to pop out like Christmas and everybody's going to be so grateful for life and everything. You're just going to be welcomed back to the party. You're going to be like, wait, what happened? Quarantine? I could have been playing video games for 3 months? Yeah, but that was messing with me, Your boy was pretty tired and legit weird things. And I don't know if it was workout related because I was like doing new workouts and shit because we're all pretending like we're all fitness gurus doing workouts at home. But my neck was hurting really bad, a weird neck pain. And then I was just tired. I had no energy and just didn't feel good at all. Chest tight. And that's the thing is that I'm so torn on this whole coronavirus thing because the whole chest tight thing and the symptoms of a cold and just tiredness, like that could be anything. That can be anything. You tell someone, hey, you're not feeling good. Well, one of the symptoms is a tight chest. The second in difficulty breathing, the second you say that to somebody, they're going to go, oh, well, shit, my chest is tight right now. Whether it is or not, because that's just what our fucking 8 brains do, okay? Is we just tell ourselves we are sick. We have whatever's going on. A crazy statistic that I found out this book I'm reading. I don't know if you knew this about me. I know I look like a complete douchebag, and I have bits that I do on stage, or when I used to be a stand-up and could go out and actually stand up in front of people and tell jokes. I have this thing where I talk about how I resting douchebag face. and it's a whole yuck situation. But I talk about how I read books, and I just say they're just audiobooks, and I say it's just podcasts. But the truth is, your boy reads a book every day. Every day I read a chapter in a book. A chapter. I'm so well read. I read a chapter in my book. And the current book that I'm reading right now, and I recommend it to everybody, The Happiness Advantage. And it's basically, like, that's the thing, is self-help books are cool. You know, I've read my fill of them, and maybe this would be classified as one, but it's almost like an objective study of the brain and our patterns. That's what fascinates me, because I think we're all creatures of habit. I read the book I was reading before was the mental training, the mind coach, and I'm really into these books that are more objective and kind of studying big groups and kind of results. I'm really into objective data. I don't really like subjective. I don't like people's being all philosophical with me and trying to, like Gal Gadot, feeling like a philosophizer. But I really like studying hard evidence for things, because that can actually retrain my brain and make me not, stuff like The Secret and everything like that doesn't really do stuff for me. The self-help books that are like, well, you just have to believe, achieve, and then succeed. Every day, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And say, you're going to have a great day. That's all fine and dandy. But there's no real structure or science behind it. Like, at least explain that to me. Well, studies showed when people would look in the mirror for 30 minutes, or 30 people looked in the mirror, the blah, blah, blah group had this. I only want data. I only want data of why they're doing it and what were the results. And the beautiful thing about the time that we live in is that we have so much data, okay? We have so much data that we can go through and see a lot of the mistakes we don't have to make if we're just willing to read books and to learn and to look at other people's mistakes and not let our ego get out of hand to where we think we know everything. Done with that rabbit hole. Back to my topic. The book I'm reading right now had a fascinating part. I always get gems out of it every single morning. I read a chapter and there's always something that jumps out to me. And I'm like, this is phenomenal. And one of the things that I thought was relevant, I was going to actually just read the book on the podcast, but I'm like, that's pretty corny. And I'll probably run some copyright issues. But it was talking about how in medical school, these Harvard students, that while they're in medical school, they develop psychosomatic disorders. And the one that they disorder is hypochondria, which, if I'm sure you know, hypochondria is where you read about something or you hear about a disease and you automatically think you have it. They did 2 studies. In the first study about this, they found out 70% of medical students, when they're going through, just based off the knowledge of existence of certain diseases, 70% of them thought they had diseases that they had no evidence of having. That's how powerful the mind is. And they did the study again, and they found out 79% thought that they had diseases. So your mind is so powerful that what you focus on can actually make you think you have something. So if you really think, oh man, I have this disease, and that's the crazy part about it. There is actually a benefit. The reason why it's in this book is that there's a benefit and negative side effects to thinking, like by letting your mind run wild in those situations, by not harnessing it and going down that rabbit hole. A lot of times you hear the quote, whether you think you can or can't, you're correct. That's so true, because a lot of times when people are thinking they're sick and, oh my God, I have the flu and I have this and I can't really breathe, your brain will rewire your body to be more susceptible to these diseases and infections. And you can actually, there's evidence behind it that you can make your symptoms worse by focusing on it. So the good thing is that the advantage of starting to look at the positive and be more optimistic is you'll start to have a better effect on your life, healthier life, less stress, less anxiety. And that's what your boy's been doing. One thing I did to help avoid this shit, limiting my time on social media. I got an Apple phone Hopefully you do too, unless you peasants who text me with the green text. I almost want to throw my phone across the room. Sorry, I need to stop drinking shit in here. But I started limiting my text. There's a thing that, or my social media, and there's a thing on your phone where you can go into settings and you can limit it. Only allow 15 minutes on Instagram, 15 minutes on Facebook. Completely deleted Twitter because I was losing brain cells by reading comments on Twitter. I'll be honest with you, your boy slips past that 15-minute mark on Instagram. I do. But here's the great thing. Not getting notifications, it stops me from constantly going on it. So in reality, I'm probably spending like 30 to 40 minutes on Instagram. And it's good. I'll go through and I'll look at stories and things I want to see. But other than that, I stay away because in this time, I don't think it's that good to be on it because you start going down rabbit holes, especially if you don't like guard yourself. And I think people are starting to get past the point of like shock, of fear and everything. But the news, like this is the thing about it. Don't take your advice from Instagram comments, Twitter comments, Facebook feeds and all of that. Like don't take your health and medical and pandemic advice from stupid people in the comments thinking they know shit. Like it's the most ridiculous thing ever. And then you can't even take your advice from people in the news, like the media. And that's the thing is like, for some reason, I thought that things were going to be different. Or at least I forgot what the media is for a little bit. Like, normally in my life, I don't watch the news. I'll check out some big current events, stay up to date on important things. But other than that, I don't watch the news. I don't go on and look at things because a lot of times it's fear-based because they want people, anything that can get people to click. They want them to click. It's just an objective. They don't need to have facts. They just need to be first, and that's all they care about. They don't want to be right. They just want to be first. That's a huge like media thing. And they want to make things so dramatic. It's entertainment now. And I forgot that with this whole pandemic thing because like every good American and just human citizen, you want to stay informed and you want to be on the cutting edge of something that is so important and like public health. That's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than everything. And that's why I've taken this quarantine serious. I've tried to be as up to date on it and what I need to do. How to be prepared, how to protect myself. Your boy went to nursing school. I know how to keep infections away. I know my PPE. I know that's personal protection equipment if you didn't know. Mask, gowns, rubber gloves, all that. Your boy's ready, okay? So there's a point where I look at everything going on and I go, I got it, baby. I got it. I don't need to learn more about this right now. If something comes down the pipe, I'm sure someone will send it to me, or it'll be all over everywhere where like if it mutates, if the disease is changing and now we got zombies. Your boy's ready for that. You don't think I got plans ready? Listen, I'm ready for all that. So at this point, nothing is changing in the sense of what I need to do as a goddamn red-blooded American. Nothing has changed. So I'm just ready, okay? I'm just doing my part. I'm staying quarantined. Your boy's on the couch playing Xbox. He's doing research. He's writing jokes. He's podcasting. He's trying to be entertaining. He's trying to keep things light for the other people that the media has twisted into fucking fear and anxiety in a little goddamn ball. Because being up to date, I lost sight of what the media's goal is. They got me. They got me again because you start reading headlines, you start reading all of this shit, and you lose perspective. And that's the thing that I kind of had to step back from is there are so many deaths from car accidents. And listen, before you get triggered, I'm not going down the rabbit hole of comparing this to how many deaths of the flu is, this to how many deaths of car accidents, tobacco, all the stuff that kills people every single day. I'm not comparing this pandemic to that. I understand completely the importance of quarantining and social distancing and what this can lead to. I get why we have to do this. We have to flatten the curve and all of that. Your boy been preaching it. That's all important. we have to try to flatten the curve and slow things down. But here's my point. We don't get an alert every single day when there's a car accident in our area. We don't get an alert every time someone gets robbed at gunpoint, or someone gets killed, or someone overdose or gets too drunk, gets alcohol poisoning, they die, overdoses on drugs, whatever it is, Oxycontin. Dude, look at the Vicodin world. Look how many people die yearly from taking too much Vicodin, too many painkillers. It's insane. And it's a scary way because it's a respiratory depressant, bars. We don't get an alert every time that happens across the world, okay? We don't get a Yahoo, boom, the death toll up to 400,000 deaths. So we're not inundated with it, or we're just overwhelmed with every single little one. But we are with coronavirus. Why? Because the media knows that you're going to click on it. And it's a double-edged sword, because I'm like, the media is just trying to scare you with all of this, and they're capitalizing on clicks. The media doesn't care about informing you. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's some good eggs, but the media just wants your click, because that's how they get paid. They're a business. They're not a public service, okay? If they were funded by the government, or if they were funded by who knows what, they wouldn't care as much, but they need your clicks, and they just look at the algorithm that gets clicks. Look how much Kim Kardashian gets on Yahoo. Look how much school shooters we're getting. Listen, school shooters haven't gone up. Maybe they have slightly, but anytime they saw how heavy the clicks, the rotation was, every single little time there's a school shooting thing, they were, boom, run that through the cycle. They didn't give a shit that Billy the goat had 3 baby goats on the farm in Pennsylvania. No. Why? Because people aren't really into that. There's no fear based into that. Man, I'm rambling right now. But my point is that it's not healthy, the amount of focus we've put on the deaths, because people are scared. And while it is a very serious thing, and very important to do your part in quarantining and social distancing, there's a huge level of fear attached to it that doesn't have to be there. When I say it's a double-edged sword and the media trying to scare you to get your clicks, there is an importance to people seeing how important it is. Because if people don't think it is real, they're not going to social distance. So we need to find a way to actually educate people without trying to scare people with some of these stories, because I'll see some things where it's saying, there was one about, and rest in peace, a 17-year-old kid who passed away, and they say he was denied health care. These acute problems can happen, blah, blah, blah. He was healthy, young man, blah, blah, blah. But then there's got to be more to that story, because you can't be denied health care. Listen, I don't care. This is America. If you're an illegal immigrant, you go into the emergency room, they're going to take care of you. If you don't have insurance, they're going to take care of you. Okay, go to the emergency room. There's all these stories. People say this 32-year-old died, blah, blah, blah. And then you go look, they had 2 of the underlying complications that are high risk for the situation. But the thing is and that's the thing, is when you start putting these stories out as a scare tactic, it's not just older people. You're at risk. But then the person you tried to scare, there's going to be a percentage of the people who read that story, they're going to go maybe do some research on it if it really scares them. And then they're going to see, they're not being completely honest. You know what? It's not that bad because that person had it, or had underlying complications. I'm good. And they were being dishonest. So it further breaks the trust of the media and the news sources and people taking it serious. They throw the baby out with the bathwater because you're lying to them. But we need to find a better way to get people to take this serious. And it's not just young people. Listen, you want to trigger Evan? It's people not giving a shit about other people. I'm coming in hot this week, okay? I felt like I didn't bring it last episode. I was upset with myself. but I still put out the podcast. Why? Because I don't re-record these things. Whatever happens, happens. But I'm fired up today. I live across from a dog park. Okay, it's actually a park. People just turn it into a dog park. We're social distancing. We're quarantining. You're supposed to be just going to the store, go out for exercise, walk your dog. I walk the dog 6 feet apart. I stay about 10 yards from everybody else. Don't get close to me. Don't get close to my dog. You're going to catch a front kick. All right? I see people walking down the street, and that's the thing is I can't stand entitled people. I can't stand people who didn't have to work for what they have. They look down on people as an overcompensation, and they think for some reason the rules don't apply to them. You get this with a lot of trust fund kids, and you get this with people who are given things. I saw these people walking down my street, and they were drinking open bottle alcohol, just drinking beer, walking down the street. And then I see them all sitting in the park in a huge group, just drinking. And I'm just like, this is Saturday night. I get it. People want to turn up. Some of these people were like in their 60s. And it's role reversal because here I am, a young stud, just a buck out here rocking it in the free world, looking at them like, what are you doing? Go home. You're high risk. Why are you drinking in the park right now? And then, sure enough, Officer Policia, I didn't call them. It wasn't me who reported it, but I'm happy it happened. A police officer stops by, and I can tell he's talking to them, for one, being in a huge group, and then two, they got open like containers in a park, in the public. You can't drink there. Go home, old people. And then they have the audacity to start dumping. They get all pissed off, and he I don't know if he wrote them a ticket, but then he takes off, and I see them like, mah, 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 and going around pouring out their alcohol on the grass. Hey, fucko, my dog pees and poops in that park. You want her to eat that grass and get drunk now? You want to turn my dog into an alcoholic? She's never had liquor. And I don't want her to start now, okay? We're in a pandemic. I don't need my dog drinking your fucking vodka cranberry or whatever the shit was. But, yeah, I just can't stand when people don't take it serious, when they just think they're above the law and they're better than all of us. That's like people who don't use their turn signals, people who don't stop at stop signs. I'm like, where are you going that you think it's more important than me? Okay? You're not the president of the United States? You're not going off to do a briefing? Okay. I guess you're more important. Let's see. Let's switch gears here. I don't know if you guys knew this. Your boy was homeschooled, okay? Listen, you guys think darkness is your ally. I was born in the dark. Your boy was homeschooled. I was living that quarantine life. I was raised on this shit, suckling on the teat of the quarantine lifestyle. Listen, I'm doing great. I'm doing great in quarantine, you know? There was a small minor adjustment. Do I miss doing stand-up? Do I miss going to jiu-jitsu, going to the gym, hitting the sauna with the fellas? Yeah, I do. I miss it, you know? But by nature, I'm a homebody. I don't like to go to bars. I don't like to go to clubs. I love to cook for people, so I'll have people over for dinner. But I don't really like going to restaurants and, you know, doing all this because I'm just like, man, I would love to make this at home, you know? But anyway, I'm doing good in quarantine, and here are my tips for people who are having a hard time with it. Fight the urge to not set a bedtime and a wake-up time. You gotta fight it, especially if you're an adult and you're used to having that schedule. Fight the urge to just get into a routine of binging Netflix, going to bed with the TV on, getting up whenever you want, and not going through a routine. Don't stay in the same clothes all day. You got to keep a routine. That's the first thing. Because one of the nights, your boy did slip a little bit. One of the nights I went to bed at like 3:30. Woke up at like 10:30, almost 11. And I remember just waking up and being like, hey, I'm a piece of shit. And I should be waking up earlier. So I snapped out of it. I said, nah, we're going back to our routine lifestyle. I wake up in the morning, first thing, make the bed. Boom, bars. Coffee's going already. Then your boy journals a full page. Any of my thoughts, the things from the night before. And that's the thing, I make my to-do list the night before. So if there's some video thing I need to edit, reach out to someone through email, record podcasts, whatever I have to do the next day, I write out my to-do list. And then after that, after I journal in the morning, I read my book. I read usually a chapter. And then I kind of like think about some of the things in the book. And I stretch. I might do a little workout, some push-ups, pull-ups, my prison shit, I'm in the hole for another 30 days. And then I start working. Then I actually, and that's the thing, I don't look at my phone up until that point. So I have about 45 minutes that I don't even look at my phone. It's in the other room. I don't sleep with the phone in the room. I have an alarm clock. I have one of those dope-ass alarm clocks my girl got me for my birthday, where it slowly rises with the sunlight, like the light just comes on. Fucking birds. Birds wake me up. Bars. So that's a huge thing for me, because once I'm in bed, I do have a TV in the bedroom where sometimes I'll watch TV to fall asleep, but I don't look at my phone at night. I don't look at my phone first thing in the morning. I don't, because I know it's a slippery slope. When I was younger, I would just lay in bed, and first thing I wake up, all right, let me look at these notifications. 20, 25 minutes goes by where now I'm bullshitting. I'm just swiping on Instagram. Keep a routine. Plan out your week. Like for me, here's an example. I'll plan out, even now that I'm feeling better. I kind of was just going off how I felt that day, what I was going to really do with working out, if I was even going to work out. But now I'm planning it where I do jiu-jitsu normally 3 times a week. But what I'm doing now is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing like a cardio conditioning with weights. Tuesday, Thursday, doing some jiu-jitsu drills. And then Saturday, I'll still do boxing and everything I normally do. And then have one rest day on Sunday. But I'll plan it out to where I'm not like, all right, Monday, let's work out. Tuesday, let's work out. Wednesday, let's work out. No, like I already have planned different things, and that'll help me keep track of the week as well. So I'm not becoming a person who's like, oh, is today Thursday or Monday? And also I plan out podcasts. So I record podcasts Monday, Wednesdays, put them out Tuesday, Thursday. But I did have an idea of possibly putting out 3 podcasts while I'm on quarantine a week. So that might be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They come out same day I record them. Because I usually record them the day before, so people have them for their commute to the job. But only you essentials are still driving the job. So if anybody wants me to still do that, I will do that for you guys. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Thursday, I'm hoping I can record Wednesday with them. I'm going to get a Pangolin Expert on the podcast. So if you have any questions for someone who works at a zoo and works with exotic animals and is really passionate about wild animal trafficking and stopping that, send me any questions you might have for that individual. I'm very fired up for that episode. Very fired up. I hope it happens. Looks like it is. And it's going to be an amazing podcast. I'm super stoked for that one. And to still keep guests during quarantine. So, it's looking good. I wanted to switch things up. I don't want to just talk about Corona. I'm sorry that we spent so much time on it. Because me, myself, while I'm listening to podcasts, you do want to hear what certain people have to say about Corona. But at a certain point, I just want to... I need a detox from it. I don't want to hear any more about who has it, who's dying, who's doing this. I just want to know, I want to be entertained. I want a distraction from it because I'm doing everything I can. There's nothing else that I can do, and I only want to focus on things that are within my power, So if there's you get what I'm talking about. I need to explain myself to you. God damn it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be answering some questions that I've gotten from past podcasts that I didn't really use. So number 1, what are your favorite foods? If you know anything about me, I like a few different things. Your boy loves barbecue. Listen, the Traeger grill changed my goddamn life. Last night I made some delicious hamburgers. I let them smoke on there on the Traeger grill for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I flipped that bitch up to high and seared both sides. Had a delicious hamburger that I made from scratch. 80% lean meat with 20% fat, bars. I mix it all up myself with pepper, garlic, salt, a little bit of salt, parsley. What else did I put in it? Shit, I forget. Oh, Gouda cheese and eggs. That's how I hold it all together. I'll put a few raw eggs in it and Gouda cheese, and it holds the patty together very well. Because I don't put, some people put flour to hold their patty together well. But yeah, that was it. It was delicious. I really like cooking chicken wings, obviously. If you know me on Instagram, I'm very passionate about the chicken wing, debate of bone-in wings versus boneless. I've made a few enemies that way, but that's just what it is. But aside from that, I gotta say Puerto Rican food is my number one. Making some arroz con habichuelas, pollo guisado, empanadas, pasteles, tostones. I love it all. I love it all. Mofongo. I haven't had mofongo since I lived in Puerto Rico. Delicious. I made a video on how to make sofrito. If you've seen, sofrito is like the base of all Puerto Rican food. It's like it's garlic, it's cilantro, green peppers, red peppers, onion, and you mix it all in and blend it, and it makes like the base of all Puerto Rican food. So I made a video how to make it. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but you need to know how to make that if you're going to make any other Puerto Rican food. It's the life source, baby. Keep up. Let's see, other favorite food. I love pho, Vietnamese food. Pho is delicious to me. I love tacos, street tacos, giggity. Yeah, I'm a taco connoisseur. If a place has the good street tacos, normally when I go to a new place, I just start asking people where are the best street tacos. And I'll just, taste test around town until I got my good one. If you're in Ventura, the red truck on the avenue. That's where you go for the best street tacos in Ventura. I get it, some people Tapatio, but that place is just number one for me. They just make such a good tasting street taco. Next one. Do I believe in paranormal activity? Ooh, I like this question. It's hard for me to say. I am superstitious in some ways. In some ways, I'm completely non-superstitious at all. It's hard. Like, do I believe in ghosts? Pretty much is what you're asking. Man, I don't know. I really don't know. I would have to lean with no. This is how every scary movie starts, by the way, is someone saying they don't believe in it. And then all of a sudden the weird shit starts happening. Of course, on quarantine, this is when paranormal activity would start happening, when I can't escape it. Damn, did I just come up with a short film idea? Just called Quarantine? Paranormal Quarantine? Okay, here's my short film. Paranormal Quarantine. A film about an individual who lives in a haunted apartment. Unbeknownst to him, there is a ghost that lives in it as well. And since he is on quarantine, the ghost has to spend so much time with him and gets so annoyed of him always being around. Could kind of put up with him being there when he had other shit to do, would go tell jokes, would have to sometimes listen to him tell his shitty jokes in his room by himself. But the ghost would put up with that because it was like, hey, this dude's going to leave and now I'm going to get my alone time. But now the ghost doesn't get any alone time from the guy in quarantine, starts fucking with him. Eventually he has to kill him. So that's the plot, But yeah, to answer your question, I did a Ouija board growing up. I've done a Ouija board a couple times. I'll admit it. I've danced with the devil. The weird thing about the first time I did it, we did it in Ventura when I first lived here for college. The night we were about to move out, the next morning we were moving out of our apartment. And since we were so superstitious, we're like, well, let's do it the last night before we all move out. So then we won't, if we bring anything here, we out. We're good. And we did the Ouija board. All of us swore before we did it. We're like, listen, no one fuck with it. No one pretend you're talking to a ghost. No one move it. Just if it happens, it happens. Let's figure it out. So we started doing it, and it was moving. And we were asked it, so do you know our name? And then it spelled out our name. But here's the creepy thing. It was spelling our name wrong. Like it was almost phonetically spelling all of our names. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I didn't really put it together. And then we were like, do you like us? And it said no. No. Which was creepy to me because I'm like, okay. Ha, 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 ha. And then we said why. Or I think we said why. And then it said Jasper. Jasper was a stuffed jackalope that I had. It was like a little statue of, it was fake. It wasn't a real stuffed animal, like taxidermy. It was like an ornament. It was a fake little rabbit with little horns, like a jackalope. It was a rabbit with horns. We kept it on our like entertainment center, and it kind of was like the mascot of our little family that we created at this apartment. And we said why or something, why Jasper? And it said scary. And then we kept talking and asking questions, and we found out the person we were talking to was supposedly 6 years old. And then what creeped me out the most about that is we were like, all right, we're going to go. Bye. It made sense that it couldn't spell our name correctly because it was a little kid that like didn't really learn how to spell. And then it would be scared of Jasper. It wouldn't like us because of Jasper because it was scary. Made sense because Jasper was creepy looking. And I'm like, oh shit, that is kind of spooky. Spooky. So yeah, that was my my paranormal activity for my life. And that's the thing is growing up, we used to do that a lot. We'd find a haunted place. Like we'd look on Google and shit. We thought we were goddamn ghost hunters. And we would just go try to find ghosts and do little seances and shit to try to talk to ghosts. Never really talked to anything. I ran more into creepy homeless people doing that. You go to like an abandoned house, it'd be more homeless people you would have to worry about. I'd be like, oh my God, are you a ghost? He's like, nah, I'm Fred. Yeah, Fred was like one dude. He was like on a mattress in the middle of an abandoned house with some magazines. I guarantee those things weren't Cosmopolitan. You know, it was a Reader's Digest. Those were not above the bar reading material, if you will. All right, last question. TV shows that are binge worthy. You know, I've kind of been needing a new one. But one that I think is great, holds up. It's still in a current season 3. It's not going to be too much to where you're overwhelmed having to watch it. Westworld. If you've never seen Westworld, watch it. That first season, amazing. Second season, just as good. I think the first season's amazing because it kind of was an introduction and they had a lot to work with, but they set it up for a great season 2. Things go a different way. And then now that they're in the season 3, I think it's getting even better. Fun fact, your boy was on that show. If you look closely, sometimes you can see my dead body. Yeah, I got roped into doing some stuff with Westworld. They lied to me what my role was going to be. And your boy ended up doing a lot of just lame stuff on there, pretending I was dead, being a CEO. Like they always like really pitched it really cool to me that I'll do. And then I'm like, oh, and then it was a lot of bullshit. But anyway, amazing for me to even be on there and to see how they film and everything. As a filmmaker, that was so dope to see how they set up shots and everything. And that was one of the things that was dope. I got to stand with the director and the producer and everything, like while they were shooting shots and hearing them talk and everything. I was like the only person that got to do that. At one point, it was just me and like 3 people, like the assistant, myself, and the director, and like the main camera operator, the DP. For some reason, they needed me for a shot after, and they came and got me and they brought me there, but we were just waiting. So I got to hang out with them for like 30 minutes and just I wanted to give input because like I'll film shit, and I wanted to say something that would for them to be like, oh shit, this kid knows his stuff. But I was like, don't do it, Evan. You think that's a cool idea? Everybody's done that. So I enjoyed the moment and what I got to observe. Because I know for me, if I was doing something and someone who had ever taken a picture on their camera phone tried like micromanaging me or giving me ideas, I'd be like, hey, fuckface, you don't know what you're talking about. But it was a dope experience. And the other thing that I would say is binge-worthy and good, Dexter. And I know you're probably like, Evan, Dexter, what is this, 2007? Listen, I didn't start Dexter until about 6 months ago, maybe. Phenomenal. I never started it because I'd always heard the series ended bad. I didn't think it ended bad at all. Listen, I don't want to spoil it. Okay, we're going to spoil it. So listen, if you haven't seen Dexter and you're interested in it, you should probably end the podcast now. It's a great show about a serial killer who has to try to live in society and only kill bad people. That's kind of the gist of the show. I recommend you watch it because every season is different. There's like one season that like I kind of fell out of it, but overall great. But check out this podcast now because I'm gonna start doing spoilers. So for you who are checking out, I love you. I'll see you next episode with the Pangolin Expert. Pangolin, I think it's pronounced. Dexter. It couldn't have ended any other way. Like the thing is that they did it great. It was poetic. What was he supposed to do? Was he supposed to leave with Hannah and his son and just ride off into the sunset and be happy? No, we can't expect that because it's so against his nature to do that. Like, why would he do that? All of a sudden he can just live a normal life? No, he's got a dark passenger. He is who he is. So I thought it was very poetic because that's what he wanted to do. But then he ended up getting Deb killed when he tried to go against his nature. By him actually going against his nature is what got Deb killed. And that was a wake-up call to him to be like, you know what? I am who I am, and I have to be who I am, or the people around me who love me get hurt. And that was the reason why he was like, I can't go be with Hannah and Harrison. And people are like, why would he leave Harrison with Hannah? Hannah's a serial killer as well. Listen, Hannah only kills to protect, okay? She kills to protect those she loves, and when she feels threatened. She saw Harrison as her own. And the last shots of her with Harrison was shown in a way of her being like, I'm going to protect you. And it was very poetic. I thought it was beautiful, him riding off into the storm. And then I love that he didn't die, okay? I love that he didn't die at that moment, that he kept his nature. He disappeared, and he probably was going to continue on with his code, kill him, motherfuckers. I did think he looked like Canelo Alvarez at the end, though. He looked like Canelo Alvarez at the end. With his little beard and everything, I was like, that is Canelo right there, you know? Oh, feels good to be back, people, to not feel sick and everything. That was a weird time. Listen, if you're going through it, you're feeling sick, do my Corona Bomb. It's my little health thing I created. I just got it from the internet and combined a bunch of shit. 4 ounces of water, tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of trace minerals, 3 drops of oregano oil, vitamin D3, 2 drops. You can add a little cayenne pepper if you're feeling crazy. Wash it down with an Allicin pill. Allicin. Allicin. You can buy it from Vitacost. Super potent antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. That is just great for your body. So if you're feeling under the weather, do that. And that's all we can do right now. It's just be good to each other, love each other, stay informed, but don't stay scared from the media. Focus on what you can control and what your world is. Don't be freaking out, but just be smart. When you go to the store, wear your gloves, wear your mask. Who gives a shit? Flatten the curve. That's really the best you can do, is try to take care of yourself, because it's one of those things where you don't think you're really doing something by social distancing. You are. You really are. Whether if you're a young person who you don't think it's affecting, it's going to affect you, man. It's going to affect you in some way. And this is a thing where it's not about you. It's about all of us. It's about someone else's grandparents. It's about someone's kid, whoever it is. Just do your part as a good person on this planet, you know? Free the whales. And remember, I love you.